year 2487, humans were known across the galaxy as weak and unimportant. Most alien civilizations laughed at Earth, calling it a backward planet, but Dr. Adrian Cole did not care about their words. He worked quietly in the medical bay of the orbital space station, studying alien biology. Adrian was only 28, yet he had a talent for understanding creatures no one else could. He spent long nights reading alien anatomy books, running experiments, and learning medicines that even top alien doctors struggled to understand. Despite his skills, many of his colleagues mocked him, saying humans could never compete with alien intelligence. Why waste your time on that? They would ask, laughing as he prepared treatments for dangerous alien species. Adrian ignored them, believing that every life mattered, no matter how fierce or strange. One morning, an emergency alert sounded across the station. A massive alien creature had been injured during a border conflict on a distant planet. It was a rare beast, feared throughout the galaxy, and it belonged to Empress, a ruler known for her power and cruelty. The news caused panic in the medical bay. Most medics refused to touch the creature, fearing its strength and the Empress's wrath. But Adrian stepped forward calmly. "I will go. I can help it," he said, and no one argued, though many shook their heads in disbelief when the beast arrived. It was more terrifying than anyone had imagined. Its scales shimmered like dark metal, its eyes glowed with intelligence, and its claws could tear through steel. Other medics whispered nervously, warning Adrian that the creature might attack him at any moment, but he studied it carefully, noticing shallow breathing and deep wounds along its side. He checked its heart rate, its blood, and its breathing, learning quickly how to stabilize it. Hours passed as he worked tirelessly, using both human and alien techniques. He mixed medicines, stitched wounds, and adjusted treatments that no one had tried before. Through the long night, the beast growled and hissed, but it did not attack Adrian. It seemed to trust him, or at least sense that he meant no harm. By morning, the alien's breathing was steady, its eyes calmer. Other medics stared in shock, realizing that a human had saved a creature that many considered untouchable. Adrian wiped sweat from his brow and smiled quietly, satisfied that he had done his duty. News of his success quickly spread across the station, reaching even the distant corners of the galaxy. Some laughed, saying it was luck. Others whispered that Adrian might have real talent. But one observer remained silent, watching from afar. Empress herself. No one knew what she was thinking, but the very air seemed to change when her attention fell on him. Adrian did not know that his life was about to change forever. The galaxy, which had laughed at Earth, was now watching him closely. He had taken a step that few humans had ever dared, and it was only the beginning. A single act of courage and compassion would soon challenge the prejudices of entire civilizations. And for Adrian, the mockery of Earth was only the first obstacle in a journey that could reach the stars. Hook for next part. Little did Adrian know, the galaxy's most feared Empress was coming to meet him in person, and one wrong move could cost him everything. By evening, a massive starship descended slowly toward the space station. Its hull shimmered with colors no human eyes had seen before. Every crew member stopped what they were doing, staring as the shadow of the ship fell across the landing bay. Adrian continued tending to the alien beast, unaware that the galaxy's most feared ruler had come to see him. Those ship's doors opened with a hiss, and Empress stepped out, her presence filling the entire bay. Her armor glimmered like liquid metal, and her eyes shone with a strange, golden light. The alien beast stirred nervously, its muscles tense, but it did not move aggressively. Adrian felt a chill run down his spine, yet he stood his ground, knowing he had done nothing wrong. Vera walked slowly toward him, her gaze sharp and calculating. "Who dared touch my companion?" she asked, her voice echoing through the chamber. Every species present fell silent, the air thick with fear and respect. Adrian bowed, keeping his hands visible. "I am Dr. Adrian Cole, Empress. I only wanted to save life, not harm it," he said calmly. The Empress studied him carefully, her golden eyes scanning every detail of his face. She had seen countless humans and dismissed them as weak and fragile. Yet something in Adrian made her pause. She noticed the way the alien beast looked at him, a trust that no other human had earned. The beast nuzzled his hand slightly, a silent gesture of loyalty, and Vara's expression changed ever so slightly. It was the first sign of approval she had ever given to a human. Her advisors whispered that humans were insignificant, not worth her attention. but the Empress ignored them. Her focus on Adrian, unwavering, she wanted to test him further. To see if this human could survive in a galaxy that had long considered his kind inferior. "You will go to planet Zalera," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "It is under quarantine due to a deadly alien plague, and no human has ever survived there. If you fail, you will die, and your foolish actions will be remembered." As a lesson for others, Adrian swallowed, feeling both fear and determination. He had no experience in war or plague zones, yet he knew he could try. He nodded respectfully. "I will do my best, Empress. I promise to save as many lives as—" Cliffera studied him for a long moment, then turned to leave, signaling that the mission was approved. As she departed, the alien beast growled softly, almost as if warning Adrian, but he understood that it was a reminder to be careful, to respect the danger ahead. The station buzzed with whispers about the human who had dared to save the Empress's beast. Some called him reckless, others called him brave, but everyone agreed that his actions would change the perception of humans forever. Adrian prepared his shuttle, gathering supplies and studying the data about planet Zilera. He knew the mission would be dangerous, the plague deadly, and the creatures hostile, yet he felt a spark of hope, knowing that courage and knowledge could make the impossible possible. As he set course for the quarantined planet, he could not help but wonder if this journey would finally prove that humans belonged among the stars. Hook for next part. Adrian had no idea what awaited him on Zilera: plague, predators, and challenges that could test both his mind and his heart. Adrian's shuttle entered the thick, green atmosphere of planet Zilera. The sky was dark with swirling clouds, and the air shimmered with strange particles. He adjusted his visor and scanned the landing zone, knowing that danger could be anywhere. The planet was under quarantine because of a deadly alien plague, and no human had survived here before. Every step Adrian took was cautious, his eyes scanning for predators and signs of infection. The ground beneath him was soft and damp, covered in alien moss that seemed to move slightly when touched. Strange cries echoed in the distance, sending shivers down his spine, yet he pressed on. Remembering the Empress's instructions, save as many lives as possible, he soon found the first group of creatures, weak and trembling, their skin burning from the plague. Adrian worked quickly, preparing medicines and antidotes he had studied for this exact purpose. His hands moved carefully, treating the infected without causing more harm. Suddenly, a massive predator appeared, its claws sharp and glinting, eyes glowing in the dark. Adrian froze for a moment, then remembered how he had calmed the Empress's beast. He moved slowly, speaking softly, using gestures and pheromones he had learned from his studies. The predator paused, sniffed, and surprisingly allowed him to pass. Adrian exhaled slowly, realizing that intelligence and patience could sometimes be stronger than weapons. Deeper into the planet, he discovered a massive nest of infected creatures, hundreds of them struggling to survive. The plague had spread rapidly, and the air itself seemed to burn. He worked tirelessly, mixing medicines, distributing cures, and stabilizing the most critical cases. Hours passed like minutes, and Adrian felt exhaustion creeping into his bones. He could not afford to stop, knowing that every second could cost lives. A sudden tremor shook the ground, and a towering predator broke through the forest, blocking his path. Adrian's heart raced, but he stayed calm, studying the creature's movements and weaknesses, using both strategy and courage. He managed to lead it away from the nest, saving countless lives. Sigh. For the first time, he realized the true meaning of being a protector, not just a medic. By nightfall, Adrian had treated hundreds of creatures. Slowing the spread of the plague, he looked up at the strange twin moons above. Feeling both fear and hope, he knew that the Empress would soon learn of his success or his failure. But, in that moment, he understood something important. Humans were capable of greatness, even in a galaxy that had laughed at them for centuries. Courage and intelligence could make a difference. Adrian set up a temporary base, resting just enough to continue his mission at dawn. He had faced predators, plagues, and near-death situations, yet he remained determined. For him, this mission was not just about survival, it was about proving that humans could stand among the stars. Hook for next part. The Empress would soon arrive to see the results, and Adrian's courage would be tested once again, but this time, the challenges would be closer, personal, and far more dangerous. The flagship of Empress Vera descended onto Zilera, casting a long shadow over the alien landscape. Adrian stood at his makeshift base, the cured creatures around him moving quietly, almost watching him. The Empress's arrival had been sudden, and he knew that every step he took now was under her careful observation. Vera emerged from her ship, her presence commanding attention even from the distant predators. Her golden eyes scanned the area, then fixed on Adrian. "You have survived where no human should have," she said, her voice calm but filled with authority. Adrian bowed, keeping his hands raised and open, showing respect and honesty. "I only did what I could to save lives, Empress," he said simply. The Empress walked closer, inspecting every detail. She approached the alien beast that had survived under Adrian's care. It lowered its massive head, nudging Adrian gently as if introducing him formally. Vara's expression softened slightly, an almost imperceptible smile forming. "Your actions are unexpected for a human," she said quietly. Her advisors whispered nervously, some impressed, others skeptical. They had seen humans as weak, fragile, and unworthy of attention. Yet here stood Adrian, alive and successful, proving every doubt wrong. Vera tested him further, sending him to check dangerous zones still affected by the plague. Adrian moved carefully, treating injured creatures and calming aggressive predators. His knowledge, courage, and patience amazed even the Empress. She watched silently as he worked, noting how he solved problems with intelligence rather than force. The alien beast stayed close, following Adrian like a loyal guardian. It had been injured and feared by many, yet it trusted a human completely. This trust impressed Vera more than any victory in battle ever could. But the galaxy was not without danger. Some factions hated the idea of a human gaining favor with the Empress. Rumors of sabotage and assassination attempts reached Adrian. Alien spies lurked, watching his every move, waiting for a mistake. Yet Adrian remained calm. Focusing on his work and the lives he could save, he realized that courage alone was not enough. Intelligence, patience, and careful planning were equally important. Every decision mattered, and a single misstep could be deadly. By the time Vera called him aboard her flagship, Adrian was exhausted but determined. She greeted him formally, placing him among the most powerful beings in the galaxy. "You have proven that humans can be more than weak creatures," she said. "Courage, intelligence, and compassion are qualities that matter, regardless of species." Adrian felt a mixture of pride and relief, yet he knew the danger was far from over. Even with the Empress's approval, enemies still watched him closely. The alien beast pressed against him, offering silent support, a reminder of how far he had come. Adrian understood that his journey was not yet complete. The galaxy itself would continue to test him. Hook for next part. The greatest challenge was still ahead, as the Empress would soon introduce Adrian to the Council of the Galaxy's leaders, and not all of them would welcome a human among their ranks. As Adrian stepped onto the grand chamber of Empress Vera's flagship, the room was vast, filled with leaders from countless star systems, each more powerful and dangerous than the next. They had gathered to discuss the fate of the galaxy, but all eyes turned to him, the human who had dared to save a feared alien beast. Adrian felt a mixture of fear and determination, knowing that his every word and action would be judged. He stood tall, his uniform simple but clean, his mind focused, and his heart steady. The Empress's golden eyes met his, giving him a silent signal of support. She spoke to the council first, her voice commanding and clear. "This human has saved lives where no one else could. He has faced deadly creatures, solved impossible problems, and proven that courage is not limited by species." Whispers ran through the room, some in disbelief, others in admiration. Adrian took a deep breath and stepped forward, speaking with honesty and clarity. He told them of his mission on Zalora, the plague, the creatures, and how intelligence and compassion had guided him. Every word was careful, every gesture sincere, and the council could not ignore his courage. The alien beast, now fully stood beside him, a silent guardian and symbol of his success. Even the most skeptical leaders had to acknowledge that a human had accomplished what many feared impossible. Vera nodded proudly, signaling that Adrian's place among them was legitimate. One by one, the leaders began to speak, some offering respect, others cautious approval. Adrian listened carefully, responding with patience, wisdom, and humility. He realized that true strength was not just in battle, but in diplomacy, trust, and the willingness to protect life. By the end of the council, Adrian was officially named Protector of Life, a title no human had ever held. The Empress smiled, and the alien beast pressed close to him, their loyalty clear. Humans across Earth were watching the news, inspired by his courage, proved that even the smallest species could make a difference. Adrian felt a deep sense of pride, but he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges and dangers, yet he had proven that humans could face them, even in a universe that had laughed at Earth for centuries. One human had left a mark. He had shown that bravery, intelligence, and compassion could rise above prejudice. As he looked out at the stars from the flagship, Adrian knew that his journey would continue. New missions, new dangers, and new lives to save awaited him. The Empress placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of trust and respect. "You have shown that humans are more than we thought," she said softly, "and the galaxy will remember your deeds for generations." Adrian nodded, knowing that every act of courage mattered. No matter how small, the alien beast let out a low, approving growl, and Adrian smiled. He was no longer just a human from Earth, he was a hero among stars. Ending hook for viewers, the legend of Adrian Cole would echo across the galaxy, a reminder that even the weakest species can rise, that courage and heart can change destinies, and that sometimes one human is enough to inspire an entire universe.